Imagine you're the unluckiest person on Earth. So unlucky that those around you have come to believe it's best to avoid you, fearing your misfortune might rub off on them. Imagine that everything you touch turns to ruin. In this state, with nothing left but darkness, silence, and small fragments of ash, what would you do? This might be the best way to describe Powder's story in the series Arcane. The tale of a talented child who only sought the love and attention of her family, yet whose misfortune transformed her into a chaotic and unpredictable monster, a force that brings only destruction and ill fortune to those around her. Jinx, originally known as Powder, is a main protagonist in the Netflix series Arcane, which is based on the popular online video game League of Legends. As Vi's younger sister and adopted by the crime lord Silco, she transforms from a caring young girl into an unstable and chaotic enforcer of Silco after a tragic accident. From a sweet, imaginative young girl to a dangerous force, her story explores the duality of innocence and madness. In today's video, we'll be exploring both sides of Powder and Jinx, the good and the bad, to understand what makes her such a compelling character. To understand Jinx, we first have to look back at Powder, the bright-eyed girl full of dreams and hope. Powder's good side is all about innocence, creativity, and a deep sense of loyalty. As the youngest and most vulnerable in her group, Powder longed to prove herself, not out of pride, but from a desire to be helpful and loved. As a preteen, Powder was often reckless, as demonstrated when she stole Hextech gems from Jace's apartment and ignored her sister Vi's orders to join the mission to rescue Vander. She also showed moments of fear, such as hesitating to jump to a nearby roof and fleeing when her group confronted a street gang. Every like helps keep this channel growing. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. At her core, Powder was a dreamer. She grew up in Zaun's harsh environment, but always held on to a sense of wonder, curiosity, and creativity. As a young girl, she was fascinated with inventions, always trying to make gadgets and bombs that could help her friends and family. Even if her inventions didn't always work out, her creativity and ingenuity came from a place of wanting to contribute, to be useful, and to protect those she loved. Powder's good side is most evident in her relationship with Vi. She adored her older sister and wanted nothing more than to make her proud. Powder looked up to Vi as a protector and role model, and everything she did was in an effort to prove herself worthy of that bond. Her love for Vi was her guiding light, giving her strength and confidence despite her insecurities. Her loyalty to Vi was unwavering. When the chips were down, Powder would have done anything to help her sister, even if it meant risking her own safety. That same loyalty and love persist within Jinx, but they're buried under layers of hurt and mistrust. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm share it with more viewers. One of Powder's defining traits is her deep need to belong and feel valued. As the youngest and most vulnerable in a group of fighters, she often felt like a burden but kept striving to prove herself. This desire for acceptance makes her relatable, as she simply wants to be loved and respected. Even after her transformation into Jinx, this need for belonging remains, though it takes a darker turn as she seeks validation through Silco's guidance and destructive actions. Powder's actions, though harmful, were always motivated by a desire to help. After the tragic accident that killed Milo and Clagger, she was consumed with guilt and regret. Even after transforming into Jinx, she remains haunted by these mistakes, with glimpses of her former self still visible through her guilt, hallucinations of her past, and longing for Vi's approval. These elements highlight that at her core, Powder was a good-hearted girl who never intended to hurt those she loved. Throughout Arcane, Jinx's tough exterior occasionally gives way to reveal the vulnerable girl still inside. Beneath the layers of pain, Powder's good side remains, and her longing for the love and safety she once had with Vi drives her internal struggle. Jinx's desire to reconnect with Vi highlights that Powder hasn't completely disappeared. She still craves the love and security of her past, but fears she's too far gone. This inner conflict shows that Jinx is still motivated by the same need for love and acceptance that Powder once had. When Powder eventually tries to help by activating a new weapon, it results in a catastrophic explosion that kills her friends Milo and Clagger, severely injuring Vander, and causes Vi to turn away from her, blaming Powder for the disaster. And she called her Jinx, as she always ruins everything. Her transformation into Jinx is heartbreaking and thrilling, and if you're feeling the same, tap that like button. Imagine being rejected from all sides, with every door closed to you. The people who remained by your side and welcomed you are dead, and their death was nothing but the result of your misfortune. Imagine sitting in the heart of darkness, hugging your knees beside the corpses, waiting for an unknown phenomenon, waiting for life. Vi's disappointment and abandonment deeply affected Powder, pushing her into a mentally unstable state and transforming her into the paranoid terrorist Jinx. As Jinx, she shifted her need for Vi's approval onto Silco. In one scene, Jinx says to her sister, "Silco thinks he created Jinx with all his lectures and lessons. Excise your doubts, Jinx. Be what they fear, Jinx." Like everything was the same as when Vander left him, but he didn't make Jinx. You did, Vi. You never truly left me. I always heard you. Shadows in the streets, prickles on the back of my neck, your voice, pushing me, lifting me when everything turned dark. You're the reason I'm still alive. So, what do you think? Do you see Jinx as a villain, a tragic anti-hero, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video. Jinx isn't your typical villain. Her transformation from Powder, the innocent young girl, into Jinx, the chaotic and volatile force of Zaun, is one of the most tragic arcs in Arcane. But beneath the tragedy lies a dark, dangerous side that makes her unpredictable, ruthless, and at times terrifying. Jinx's unpredictability is one of her most dangerous traits. Driven by impulsive emotions rather than logic, she dives into chaotic situations without considering the consequences. This makes her a threat not only to enemies but also to her allies, including her mentor Silco, as her erratic behavior puts everyone at risk. Her lack of self-control highlights a character consumed by chaos, posing a danger to both herself and others. Jinx's fascination with explosives and weaponry, combined with her lack of empathy for the destruction she causes, shows how far she has drifted from her former self. Her love for chaos and violence reflects her warped sense of identity, where causing mayhem gives her a twisted sense of purpose. This descent into violence marks the complete loss of Powder's innocence and the birth of Jinx's dark side. If you're liking the video so far, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and reach more awesome viewers like you. One of the defining aspects of Jinx's darker side is her fragile mental state. Jinx is haunted by hallucinations and voices. Her paranoia is especially evident in her interactions with Vi and Silco. Jinx's constant fear of abandonment and betrayal makes her distrustful and suspicious of everyone around her. This psychological instability leads her to lash out, even at those who genuinely care about her. Jinx's deep-seated insecurity manifests in an obsessive need for loyalty. This obsession with loyalty drives Jinx to manipulate and test those around her. She feels betrayed when Vi returns to Piltover and forms a connection with Caitlyn, interpreting it as a personal rejection. Her bad side manifests here as jealousy and possessiveness, pushing her to manipulate situations to force people to choose her over anyone else. This makes her emotionally manipulative, using her pain as a weapon to control those around her. By choosing to become Jinx, she rejects any possibility of reconciliation with her old self and her sister. This fixation on her new identity makes her hostile to anything that reminds her of her past or challenges her sense of self. Her dark side solidifies as she builds walls around herself, embracing her role as the destructive, unpredictable Jinx with no room for the love or innocence of Powder. Jinx's relationship with Silco is one of the most complex aspects of her character. While he acts as a father figure, their bond is also manipulative and toxic. Silco sees Jinx as a powerful tool for his goals, but he also genuinely cares for her in his own twisted way. Jinx, meanwhile, depends on Silco's approval and validation, yet frequently tests his loyalty and willingness to tolerate her chaos. This relationship amplifies Jinx's darker tendencies, as Silco enables her destructive behavior while reinforcing her identity as his weapon. Their bond is built on a mutual need, Silco's need for power and Jinx's need for acceptance, but it's ultimately unsustainable. Jinx is a complex character, a product of a broken world haunted by her past and unable to escape the darkness she's embraced. Her bad side isn't just about causing destruction. It's about survival, vengeance, and the painful need to belong, even if it means tearing the world apart to do so. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this character analysis, give us a like and subscribe to our channel.